This equation looks complicated, but it's really simple. So the question is solve for x in x to the power half equal to a quarter of x. So how can we solve for x? Now, there are lots of ways you can do this, okay? But I like simple stuff, so I'm going to do it the simplest way. So x to the power half is the same as square root of x, because anytime you have any number raised to the power half is the same as square root of that number, okay? Good. So I'm going to rewrite this using the square root. So this is going to be square root of x equals a quarter of x. So simplify by, taking out all the fractions. So what I can do is multiply through by 4. So I'm going to have 4 times square root of x equal to 4 times 1 over 4x. So therefore it's going to be 4 root x equals, so this cancels this, then I'm left with what? X. So as you can see, it looks really, really simple at this point. So what I can do is to get rid of the square root sign, okay? Working with square roots sometimes is tricky. So I can get rid of the square root sign by squaring both sides, okay? So squaring this and squaring that. So therefore, if you square an expression like this, the square is going to affect everything in the bracket. So it's going to affect the 4 at the same time the square root of x, right? Good. So I'm going to have, so just so you understand, let me rewrite it this way. 4 squared times square root of x squared, okay, equal to x squared. So it's going to be 16x equal to x squared, right? Good. Because this square root cancels the square, so the square cancels the square root. Good. So we now have 16x is equal to x squared. So this is kind of like quadratic. So remember, you might say, okay, I can divide through by x so that I can cancel out to make things really easy for me. But when you do that, you might end up getting only one answer. But with quadratic, you should get 2 answers, right? Good. So let's rewrite this, then we can factorize. So I'm going to have x squared minus 16x equal to 0. So I move this to this side, and now I have that. So since I have it this way, I can factorize by having x out, then x minus 16 equal to 0. So it's going to be x equal to 0, and then x minus 16 equal to 0. So, the reason being is that this expression is equal to 0. So for it to be equal to 0, since they are multiplying, is either x is 0 or x minus 16 is 0. So x is 0, x minus 16 is what? 0. Good. So this is x equal to 0 and x equal to 16. But remember, during the solution, we're working with square root, right? So if you're working with square root, after you get your answers, you have to verify it, because sometimes some of the answers might be negative, and square root of a negative number is going to give you a complex thing. Great. So we have to verify. So when x equals 0, the question is what? X to the power half equals 1 over 4x. So it's going to be 0 to the power half equal to 1 over 4, 0, which is going to be 0 equal to 0. Or when x equal to 16, it's going to be 16 to the power half equal to 1 over 4 times 16. And 16 to the power half is the same as square root of 16, which is equal to 4. And 4 goes here, 4, so 4 equals to 4. Okay, so that means both of them works. So the values for x in the equation will be, x is set as x equal to 0 and x equal to what? 16. So like and subscribe for more content.